So I'm Steph Lomas and I'm running for Vice President of Education.
I'm Alissa Nehrlich and I'm running for Vice President Education.
Basically, it's about getting back to basics with students and making sure they're getting what they need, getting the right standards. So part of my manifesto is putting current students back at the top of the agenda. We have an issue with the university building new shiny buildings for future students, but we've got basic issues with what we have now, such as a timetabling system that doesn't work, Blackboard breaking down. So I want to make sort of a student-focused action plan for when Blackboard breaks down. So how can we best support students? Making sure that we're securing high teaching standards. So making sure that students feel supported by both the SU and the schools in coming forward with professional and also constructive feedback for teaching staff, and making sure that staff are fully prepared on the support services that we have so students aren't going back and forth. Also, told you it's very long, we're going to reform the ECs and extensions process, making sure it's student friendly, that students are believed and they're not having to go through further trauma by getting evidence. And it's about putting students at the top of the agenda and letting them lead the way to their own academic success.
Basically, I don't have like one big set point, more like different things, but definitely big things is definitely creating a feedback policy. Because as a school president, I've spoke to loads of students and have a survey out for people to give me feedback about the feedback they receive. And a lot of people said that they want more detailed feedback and more personal feedback. So that's definitely something I want to change. Also some barriers to education. So say I'm an international student myself, and I know that a lot of the application processes or the requirements are sometimes not quite right. So I definitely want to look into that, to change some of that, to make it easier to actually come to university. And whilst being at university, I want to create a student handbook. I've already been working on it because there are a lot of services that students have access to but don't know about because no one tells them. To kind of create that as one big handbook that you just get when you come to university. And I think the last thing that's quite big as well is to get lockers across campus so that you don't have to carry all your 5,000 books and bags and all that every single day.
My biggest priority is, wow, that's a good question. My biggest priority is putting current students first. That's because I think that falls into a lot of what my manifesto is about. So, as I said before, the university likes to build new shiny buildings, but we're failing on so many here and now issues. So we're failing on the BME attainment gap. You know, we're failing on believing students and putting them through further trauma because we've got an EC system that doesn't work. We're failing students by not having a timetabling system that works. We're failing students on having a Blackboard system that when it breaks down, it's just a wait and see. We're failing students in so many other ways that I think putting them first and making sure they're the top of the conversation will be my biggest priority this year, because that falls into everything. We need to focus here and now. We are not cash cows for a future generation. We've invested in our education.
I think for me that would be to make the student voice heard more in education, so that the university listens to its students and also changes what the students want to see changing.
Students should vote for me because I am tenacious, so I don't let anything slip. I'm very much a dog with a bone, as my mum would like to say. I constantly go and go and go until it's done. I'm quite approachable. I'd like to think, you know, you can come in for a brew, I make a good brew. So if students are facing issues, I'd like to think they can come speak to me in a way where I'll be honest with them. If it's, you know, I'll never sort of say, that's definitely going to work. What I will say is, I'll give you a realistic prospect here. And I'd like to think I'm quite funny from time to time. I think I'm hilarious. Other people may disagree. But I think having that bit of humour as well will help with like student engagement.
I'm very determined, and when I want something, I will do my absolute 100% to get it. I've also, through being course rep and school president, had a lot of experience in kind of communicating the student voice and making positive change. So I'm definitely very driven and motivated to create real change.
What inspired me to run is I am not a traditional student. So the last thing I'd wrote before essays was lines at school. Literally, that was my sort of writing prowess. I was made redundant twice, and university was a lifeline. I mean, my object is my acceptance letter to education. And I've seen the great work of Stevie Seymour, Tᴡɪᴛᴛᴇʀ, Sunny and Gemma, and I just think, wow, what a great legacy they have left for students. And I think that the work isn't done yet. I think education is a right, not a privilege, and we need to keep fighting that fight. Education saved my life, and I'm sure it saves a lot of other students. I know it's really cheesy to say, but it genuinely did save my life. And I want to run for VP Education because I want that to be the case for others. I want others to see education as that lifeline and not feel like there's a barrier against them achieving the success that they need to achieve.
Basically being a course rep and then moving on to being school president, I just want to take that a bit further because obviously on a course level or school level I can only do so much, but as an education officer I obviously can reach far more people within the university and just make that student voice heard more.
So been made redundant twice, and I was in a really dark place the second time I was made redundant. And getting this letter meant that someone had confidence in me, and that gave me confidence in myself. As we are a widening participation university, we need to accept that students come from various different backgrounds. So we need to make sure that everyone here has the same opportunities to achieve. This letter has literally been a door opening to the rest of my life, and both of these letters are framed at home. I've took them out of the frame because I'll probably break them. But yeah, so those are my objects, and every time I see them I think, do you know what? I'm doing all right here. And I'd like students to think that throughout their education, you know, we're doing all right, we're getting grades, we're attending, we're having brilliant opportunities, and the staff really support us. And through these letters I got into the Students' Union, and I mean, what an opportunity. I've been a course rep twice, a school president twice, academic society vice chair and vice chair of the student council. I mean, beforehand I was really shy. I know no one will believe that, but I was really shy. So this has opened doors for me, and that's why this is my object.
I'd say, don't have a fixed person, but like the character would be someone that's very organised and driven and kind of professional, but then behind the scene is also quite crazy and just a bit weird.
Vote Steph Lomas #1 VP Education.
Vote Alissa Nehrlich #1 for VP Education.